Yeah, I mean, really, what our focus was we wanted to make a place that was inviting to anybody.
You are going to enjoy this conversation with Justin Urso as much as I have. He's an entrepreneur. He started this company called Big Box Karaoke in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and he talks about the journey and the story behind it. You are going to enjoy it as much as I did. Let's get started. What's kind of the backstory behind Big Box Karaoke?
Yeah, so the backstory behind Big Box Karaoke was pretty much I graduated from the university in 2006 with a degree in economics. Prior to that, I had done a study abroad over in Japan in 2005 with Dr. Stapp. I think he's a professor he's still a professor there at the University of Arkansas. Did you ever take one of his classes?
I have not taken him, but he's still at Arkansas.
Okay, so he's still there. So my minor was in Japanese language, and so just got interested in studying the economy over there, the language. Ended up doing the study abroad, and really wanted to go kind of live over there, learn the language a lot more. And after college, I ended up going over there after some time in DC to become an English teacher, and just fell in love with the country and where I lived and just everything about it. And one of the things that really enjoyed was karaoke there. My wife now, she moved over there with me at the time, and we got to experience it together. And it's primarily done in private rooms. And so we just fell in love with karaoke. And when we moved back to the States the next year, we actually ended up living in Chicago, and we frequented a place up there that was a Asian style karaoke place, and it was a little bit more divey, not a place that was that inviting for everybody. And we envisioned building Big Box Karaoke. I mean, we decided that we wanted to make it a business. We wanted it a place that was inviting for everybody. And but that was back in 2009. So we attempted to open it in Chicago, and the recession hit. Very similar to the times that we're all facing right now. Just not good economic times, to really start something, that was going to take a lot of money to start with a lot of uncertainty. And so we didn't get it off the ground then, and we ended up moving back to Fayetteville a few years later and attempted a second time to open it in 2015. That one didn't get off the ground. Mainly the building that we had just needed so much construction, and it was going to cost way too much money. And a couple of years had gone by. We really hadn't talked about it, but I had kind of kept a business plan, I like to say warm. I had kept it updated, and we just strolled across a location on Block Street in Fayetteville in 2018. And we just saw it, and we just knew that was had to be the location. And we revisited the business plan and started contacting people, and 7 months later we were open for business.
It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, glad to hear you've had a good time. I'm actually wearing my Big Box Karaoke shirt today that we had done up during this time from Be Unlimited. So they had a Alliance series, and they put these out. So glad you had a good time. When was the last time you were there?
I graduated in 2019, December 2019. And so it was probably like November-ish.
I mean, there's a good chance that I was there if you were there. Like, I mean, if it was a weekend, sometimes I'm not there on the weekends. I work a lot of the slower days.
It was a
Thursday. So probably a good chance that I was there. Maybe, who knows?
Who
but
knows?
Yeah, glad you've had a chance to visit and you had a good time.
Okay, for those who don't know, I don't know who's listening or who's going to listen to this, but those who don't, what is the Japanese style karaoke?
So pretty much just, I would say karaoke in Japan is common no matter what you're doing. I mean, it happens in an open bar or open location or at a home, but it also, what they're kind of known for is having it in private rooms. So just think about your own room. You could do it by yourself. You could have friends, family, just kind of whatever experience you're really looking for, right? And so that's the difference. Primarily in the U.S., we're known for just having it in kind of like a big open location where you stand up in front of a big crowd, or you tip somebody to play your song, and then they play it, and then you sing it, and then you move on. But we love the experience of having your own kind of controlled environment where you don't have to worry about what people are going to think about you when you're singing. You don't have to be Mariah Carey, or a professional singer, right? I mean, if you sound terrible, it's okay because you're in your own room, and if you're great, then, it's going to be fun for you as well. So it works for really anybody. So we have big box specifically, we have 7 rooms. They're different sizes, small, medium, and large, and people rent out those rooms by the hour. Obviously, in today's world that we're living in with COVID, we have, I would say 90% of our reservations, 90% of our business before this was reservations as it was. Now we're reservation only. So, in that sense, the business model hasn't really changed too much. It's just that the group sizes are a lot smaller and a lot fewer at this point.
Have y'all ever had just like one person just rent out a room?
Oh yeah. So room 6 is the smallest room, and I mean it really seats up to 4 people. But we've had one person in there quite a few times, and we've had date nights in there. So it's really good for anybody. We're also a restaurant, so people come there and they can get food, they can have a beverage, they can dance and sing in the room. So it's really it's all for anybody just looking to kind of let loose and have a good time in their own environment.
Oh, that's awesome. And what has been, so you basically had to like the first one, Chicago, didn't go well, then your second one. So what your advice would be for someone who's like, okay, I have this idea and I want to move forward with it?
I mean, it all starts with a plan. You have to have a plan in place. You have to be doing something that makes sense. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it just needs to make sense to everybody, but it has to make sense in some way, right? Hopefully, there's kind of like an opportunity or a problem you're solving, right? Or there's an opportunity in the market for that particular business or that particular idea. Right. So those are some critical things that you really need to have. I mean, a lot of people just have great ideas, but it doesn't always necessarily mean it's going to manifest itself into a business. Right. So so there's that first and foremost. I mean, the second thing is just really not giving up, just pushing through. Again, a lot of people have great ideas and they might even have a great fit for it, but sometimes people just don't push it all the way through. They don't make it happen the way it has to happen to succeed. I mean, for us, we would have never got to the point that we got to had we not really saved up money for 10 years. I mean, we spent, we forwent like doing extra trips or buying something fancy or doing this and that. We just put our money aside, and when the time came, we were able to invest in our own project. And that felt good. It felt great. I mean, obviously this current time, you question a lot of things about having done all of that, because prior to that, we had worked in corporate jobs and, had really strong careers in those jobs, and, gave up all that to pursue kind of a dream, right? An entrepreneurial dream. But really just tenacity, pushing through, not giving up. But you got to have something tangible in place for that to actually manifest itself into something successful.
How did funding come across? Did y'all all fund it yourselves? Did you have to go get a loan at the bank? Was it private funding? How did you fund Big Box?
Yeah, so we, for this particular venture, we funded 2/3 of it ourselves. And part of that came in the form of a loan from the bank. And part of it came in the form of us collateralizing it or securing it with our assets for the bank. And then part of it came from cash from us. I would say our leasing, the group that we leased the property from, they actually were able to do what's called a TI, or tenant improvements. or leasehold improvements. They use both terminologies, but they did help do some build out for us as well, which helped reduce some of our necessary capital that we needed up front. So for this particular venture, we didn't raise any outside capital. I wouldn't consider the bank's not really outside capital necessarily. It's just a loan, which we're liable to pay back in that sense.
Have y'all been able to keep y'all's employees during this time?
We retained our staff for the first month that we were closed. And we were, really trying to push forward with that, but it just didn't make sense. I mean, we didn't have any work for people to do. The unemployment benefits that were passed were actually, they would earn our staff, which most of them were part-time, could earn more being unemployed than actually being employed with us. So it's kind of an unintended consequence of the laws that were passed in terms of how that worked for people. Good for them, but made it difficult for us to make sense to retain people, obviously. So we retained a few people, and we've had a few changes here and there, but our goal was to keep as much staff as possible. For the moment we return, we've started back business just a few weeks ago, where we opened inside to reservations in the rooms only, and business has been slow, so and understandably, given everything that's happening, but we don't know what the headcount of our employees is going to be, for the future right now. I don't see it being where it was, just given the slowness and everything at this point.
So you talked about atmosphere early, that the dive bar in Chicago did not have an atmosphere. How do you work on creating an atmosphere through Big Box Karaoke?
Yeah, I mean, really what our focus was we wanted to make a place that was inviting to anybody. Didn't matter if you were a child having a birthday party, a 75-year-old grandfather having your party or celebration, if it was a college, night, sorority event, a mom's night out, a bachelorette party. It didn't really matter. Just, we wanted to make it a place for everybody. And we've done that, so we wanted to make it inviting. Part of that came with creating, I think, a really clean feeling establishment. It didn't, if you go in there, it's clean lines, it's clean colors. It doesn't make you feel too overwhelmed by the experience, right? And so I think it fits anybody's palate for entertainment and what they're looking for. So a lot of that was done, with that in mind. But I also think, customers create the environment too. They create a great atmosphere. And, used to, if you'd come on a Friday or Saturday night, you would see so many different people in Big Box. You would see maybe some college kids out. You'd see you'd see a family out in one room. You'd see, people, older people in a room, or different races and, genders and things. I mean, you just see different people in there that have different ideals, and it was a gathering place for anybody. So I think that in and of itself created the atmosphere, a welcoming place for anybody. And it thrived off of that. So that was exciting to see.
Yeah, that is really exciting to see how everyone is just rallying around music, being together, food. It's kind of come like a staple kind of in Fayetteville.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, again, everything I preface is historical in nature as to where it was. We don't know, what it's going to be like here in the next couple of months, but yeah, I think it has been a staple. We've only been open for about 15 or 16 months. So, still relatively new in that lifespan. And, but we have a really good following of people. Our customers have been very supportive during this time. And, I think they're all ready to get back in some fashion. And, time will be the telling source of how and when that happens.
What's kind of been the biggest surprise through your whole Big Box journey?
One of the biggest surprises is, I think, personnel, employees. And to talk on that a little bit more is, we would for a particular job, we would get like 100 applications for a job. We would call 20 to schedule an interview. Of those 20, 10 people would confirm an interview, and of those 10, 3 to 5 would actually show up for the interview. So, that was a bit of surprise to me. I mean, I came from a world where, hundreds of applicants would apply for something, and every one of them that got an interview would show up for an interview, right? But in this industry, in the service and hospitality industry, it's a little bit different. There's a lot of people that float through jobs. And we actually had very limited turnover, which was a good thing. We pretty much retained the same team from day one up until the last few months. And so we didn't have to replace a lot of people, which was nice. But the hiring process is difficult, and people don't understand that kind of trend of like all these people down to a few, and then a lot of no-shows. It takes a lot of time from managers and the owners of the company to try to hire people, and it's not really a good spin. It's really not time well spent if we're having that troublesome of getting people in there for an interview. So anyways, that's been a big challenge, just in that. But other than that, everything's been just learning along the way, rolling with the changes as they happen. I think for us, our probably our second biggest challenge was just our food program. We are a restaurant. Primarily our business is karaoke and beverages. But while we are a restaurant, my goal was always to break even on food. But we lost a lot of money early on the food program. And by the end of the last year in December, we finally broke even in a month. And so, just managing costs. I mean, basically, I'm a numbers guy, so looking at everything from, half a lime or half a lemon to, how much meat's going into this and how much rice you're using here. I mean, you have to get down to that level of detail at a restaurant in order to be successful.
So you talked about hiring people. What do you look for in someone that you want to hire?
I mean, I would say in this field, there are certain things that we can train, and certain things you can't train. Experience speaks volumes. But I really just look for people that are willing to learn, and willing to adapt. I think those are, most of our team, if you've seen them, and talk to them, they're just kind of willing to do anything. They're really good at their particular jobs, but they're not afraid to step in and help out in other areas. And that's in this particular industry, a key thing that I look for is just people willing to listen, learn, and help out, because, that's going to be what makes a team, and I think the last thing is just really good communication, being able to communicate with people properly. If you can't communicate with people, then it makes it really difficult. You can create like hostile environments because people aren't communicating. You can create weird work environments, between team members if just people don't communicate effectively. So, and, just focusing on that. And we're a very transparent organization. So we discuss, anything and everything that's happening between, kind of the different areas of the business. And I think that from, top down approach, lends itself to transparency within the team, and it opens up a lot of lanes of communication.
I like that. Transparency is, a key in about anything. What has been a moment that's stucking out to you?
So we opened on New Year's Eve, 2018, leading into 2019. And so the next year, going into 2020, we were able to have our 1-year anniversary party on New Year's Eve again. And that, I think, I'll talk about 2 moments. So that was a big moment for us, just getting through that first year. I think we had like 80 people in there at that point. We all came out into the dining room bar area and did a big toast at the end of the night, and sang, and it was fun, just seeing all those people have a moment together, especially before kind of all of this happened, right? I mean, that you just think that that felt so long ago. And that really struck a chord with me, being able to kind of share that moment with everybody. We also did an event for Halloween last year, and it was geared towards families and children that have food allergies. My daughter has a peanut and tree nut and sesame allergy, and so Halloween is a difficult environment for kids that can't eat a lot of those type of foods, right? And so we organized a Halloween event called Be Aware, and we didn't really know what to expect, but we had partnered with a ton of brands that had allergy-friendly foods, and we got them to sponsor rooms. We had a lot of local community sponsors as well, and we didn't really know what to expect, but we ended up, I think we had over 300 families from Northwest Arkansas come to the event through about 3 or 4 hours. And, they were just so happy that there was an event safe and specifically for them that they could enjoy and their kids could have a great time at. So, those two moments, just being able to do things that affected people's lives in some way and made an impact on them, meant a lot to me.
Wow, that's such a cool event. That's a cool idea, and that's cool that you got to touch so many families like that. What is the most important thing? You said you just celebrated your 1-year anniversary on New Year's Eve. What's kind of, for a young entrepreneur, someone who just started a business, or what would you say is the most important thing about the first year?
I mean, just be willing to do anything at that point, that first year. I mean, some of it depends on the business that you're in, but I think just being willing to listen to what your customers are saying, being willing to adapt and change, being willing to do anything as a business owner. You can't start a business and think that you're too good for any function. A lot of people want to say like, oh, I'm starting this, especially if you're in this industry. Well, people might say, well, I'm too good. I don't need to clean the toilets or clean the bathroom, whatever. And, I think being a leader is being able to step up and do anything it takes, So if my team sees me take my jacket off, roll up my sleeves and start doing all the dishes or cleaning the restrooms or whatever, then they know I'm willing to do any job in that place, if you're starting a business that's, within like the tech world or, services or something else like that, it's the same thing. You can't just expect to manage people all day. You're going to have to get down and do some work. And I think really at the end of the day, just be willing to do something. Be willing to get your hands dirty, do the jobs that need to be done, lead by example, and, be willing to listen to people, whether it's your customers or your team, about the things that need to be done.
Well, Justin, I want to wrap up with 5 rapid fire questions.
Okay.
First one, who's the most influential person in your life?
Probably my wife right now.
Okay. Number 2, what has been your favorite book?
Oh, man. I can't remember the name of it, but it was by Damon John, the Shark Tank guy. I read his, what's the name of it? I can't remember it, but I read it, I think a year or 2 ago. That was really good. I'm going to give you 2, and I hate when people do this. They're going to give you multiple answers, but the Nike founder.
Okay. Like the Shoe Dog? Shoe
Dog, yeah. That was a really good book because that just showed you like the when I talked about kind of you just pushing through. I mean, that guy pushed through, and he was selling shoes out of the trunk of his car to be successful. And most people don't understand like what it takes to be successful and how long sometimes it takes to be successful. So that's a really good book for somebody to read.
Okay. Number 3, what time do you wake up at?
6:15.
6:15. Number 4. I forgot number 4. Let's go to number 5 real quickly. What's your favorite exercise?
I'm gonna say So when I wake up at 6:15, I do yoga, stretching in the morning, and but the other thing I like to do is be on the bike.
Okay.
Mountain bike. Ride
Okay.
bikes.
Do you ever go to like Slaughter Pen or?
I just was up there the other day. I haven't done all the trails here in Northwest Arkansas. I live close to Gregory Park.
Yeah. That one's fun.
And I hit up that. Yeah, I hit up that one every once in a while. And but yeah, the Slaughter Pen looks amazing. I passed it. I did the downhill from Crystal Bridges all the way down to that area. I was with the family, and we were riding bikes up there, and I saw it to the right, and it looked amazing. I wanted to go up and ride it, but I just didn't have the chance.
Oh yeah. I've just recently gotten more into it, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun. All right, last question. What is your go-to song right now?
Oh, this is an easy one for me. Blinding Lights by The Weeknd.
Oh yeah. Okay, I have a second part to it. What's usually the most played song at Big Box right now? Or not right now, but in general. What's usually the most played song?
This last year it was Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody, TLC, No Scrubs. Those are Toto, Africa, a lot of the staples, Sweet Caroline.
Yeah.
A lot of the staple songs, we have 71,000 songs though. So, there's something for literally anybody.
Yeah. Hey, Justin, I'm going to edit this, put it out there, and it should be next week sometime. I will let you know. Thank you for joining me. I've learned a lot. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Thanks, Dwight, and best of luck to you, and reach out anytime. Okay.
I will. Thank you so much.